Senator Henkel. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is for the representative of the Business Council. Small and medium-sized businesses were hard hit by the pandemic and continue to evolve in an uncertain economic context. These SMEs often come up against biases and perceptions that prevent them from accessing funding, among other things. To that, we can add the fact that these SMEs do not have the human and financial resources in order to respond to public call for tenders. In that context, sir, how does your council plan to support the concrete participation by small and medium-sized businesses to these general interest projects that will result from Bill C-5?
Senator, again, I'm pleased to say that our organization has, actually going back to the pandemic, been working extremely closely with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, the Canadian Chambers of Commerce, and the Indigenous Business Chamber and others, particularly for this reason, because the reality is, as COVID demonstrated to us, it is when big businesses do well, the supply chain does well. And if big businesses are withdrawn from the economy, the supply chain suffers. And so that's why we needed support programs during the pandemic, because big businesses were able to effectively send their employees home, enable them to be able to work from home, but there went the restaurant, there went the dry cleaner, there went the coffee shop, because again, without that connectivity between big business and smaller businesses, the smaller businesses end up suffering. They are our partners. They are our supply chain. They enable us in many ways. And so when I say we're in it together, we're absolutely in it together. And so it's a sense of when big business does well, it allows the small businesses to do well as well, because they benefit from the growth that's going on. And if they're struggling, it's frankly because, as I mentioned earlier, we have a pretty stagnant economy. If it wasn't for population growth, we're basically 0% to 1% growth. That's anemic growth. That should happen by accident in a country like ours. We should be aspiring to that 3, 4, 5% range, and it's available to us, as I think all of us have alluded to in the course of our comments, if we're simply able to get out of our way and continue to partner with the Indigenous communities, with small businesses, with women-owned businesses, and so on. The entire community can do that together, is our sense.
Senatrice Henkel.
Senator Henkel, I think your answer does not quite answer my question, dear representative of the Canadian Business Council. My question was, we know how complex and difficult it is for SMEs to compete for public call for tenders and also to compete with large companies. What will be done to make things easier for these SMEs to survive, which once again are going to be paying for all the economic hardship? Thank you.
Yeah, again, my intention was to answer the question as I have, which is when big businesses do well, our supply chain does well, and the supply chain is small businesses. And that's the response. I will say that in specific projects, it is possible at a local community level where you have a consortium that's being put together. It would be good business practice to engage locally those smaller businesses to be a part of your response to any kind of RFPs or opportunities that emerge. But we're talking here about multi-billion-dollar projects, and so it will require large businesses to lead the way. And I think when they do well, the community does well, and within that community is a small and medium enterprise.